All right, so we are in our last lesson. We're talking about food science, and you can actually go to college and you can pursue a career in food science. So, food science, you deal with food processing, and that's not just turning raw ingredients into packaged foods. It's making foods safer, making them last longer, changing different formulations of it. Today, you can purchase many vegetables that are already chopped and washed and stored in convenient bags. I know I use these a lot. It's pretty basic, but it took scientists a long time to figure out how to make those cut vegetables last as long as the whole ones. So that's what a food scientist does. They're going to work to improve food's flavor, texture, shelf life, safety, and nutrition. Okay, so if that sounds interesting to you, you could go do that. Food scientists could work in a university lab, for a big company, for a government organization like the FDA, or even for NASA. Like, someone's got to figure out how to keep food and make it last for the astronauts, right? So that's pretty neat niche there. You've probably heard of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. They typically get a bad rep. All that a GMO is that the DNA has been altered and changed in various ways to increase, decrease, or alter certain properties within that organism. So they're really, really common. Playing with genetics isn't new. We've been doing it. I mean, it's the same as choosing this cow and this bull, and I'm going to breed them together. That's altering the genetics, selective breeding. So we've been doing it for a long time. But the ability to produce altered and targeted organisms is new. GMOs range from plants designed to resist herbicides to varieties of rice that increase supplies of vitamin A. These are for developing countries where people are starving. They've done this to help improve the hunger in that country. So do you think foods containing GMOs should be labeled? Many European countries do, but now the U.S. doesn't. Today, the most commonly genetically modified foods on the market in the U.S. are corn, canola, and soy. They're large-scale crops. Small-scale garden produce is not going to have GMOs yet. Production and science today, technology is really changing. I mean, you know that. You're growing up in the technology generation. There's trends in foods, just like trends in clothing. You know, we're not eating what they ate back in the 70s, like, gelatin and meat dishes. Kind of the trend now is going to be eating healthier, low sugar, maybe eating more plants style things. So think of some foods that are trendy today. Maybe you didn't eat these when you were younger, like Greek yogurt, chia seeds, whole grain, frozen yogurt, kale, bacon. Okay, these have become a lot more popular. So just like that, food scientists have to keep up with the trends. Food preservation and processing is a big business. The vast majority of food that's harvested, processed, and reserved by major corporations. Think of like Kraft, Del Monte, Hunt's. These are major food brands in our stores today. There are still lower scale, and most of these you're going to find, like, maybe you can find people around you that do it if you go to your local farmer's market. So customers are looking for foods perceived as clean or sustainable, including produce, meats, and seafood. Customers want to see new, clearer, and easier to understand labels. So labeling, science and labeling has become really popular in the past couple of years too. So one hot topic is meat from a lab. It's still in the processes, but food scientists are working to create lab-grown cultured meat from animal cells with the same flavor, texture, and nutritional breakdown. They're created without raising and butchering an animal. Food science has managed to cook and serve up a basic burger, but it's still really pricey because all the technology. But that's something that they're working on. So that's kind of neat how agriculture is changing. Does not mean that beef, as we know it, is going away. They're just coming up with new ulterior motives. So here's your knowledge check. What is the common nutritional concern that's more significant to consumers today? High sugar. We've learned a little bit about diabetes and obesity in our country, so we're getting more conscious on our sugar intake. How is it possible for a store of green beans purchased at the grocery store on a pantry shelf for years and able to eat it? They're canning. Remember, that's one of the preservation types. What is the benefit to freeze drying fruits and vegetables? They're light and easy to carry. Okay. So, just like our life relies on technology, so does food. It's changing all the time. If you want to be up and coming and you're interested in processing food and this really interests you, maybe food science is a career for you. All right, next you'll have your critical thinking questions.